Hey everybody, Mushbeard here. Excuse me, back with some more Summoners War action. This time we're going to take a look. This is my account. I'm supposed to be, hardcore going for, I haven't had much chance to play today. GB10 farming and getting that up as soon as possible. Well, we're going to look at a much talked about monster that late game players are showing you can use to pretty much solo Giants B10. But can newer players take advantage of this monster to kind of get into Giants B10 auto and progression to help them farm faster? So we're going to look at none other than Garo, or Garo, however you want to call him. These are my stats currently. I don't farm GB10. I've been farming GB7, so anything I've gotten has been from there or the shop. Any runes I've gotten, as you can see, that's not the greatest stuff. We'll go ahead and take a look. I just have him on Swift broken. He's running speed, attack, and then accuracy, because accuracy is going to be a big part of landing his dots, because his skills are here. Obviously, this is the skill that everyone's talking about, Narrow Escape, which offsets the incoming damage that may cause you to die and increases your attack by about 50%, and you can do this once per turn. Obviously, he's got a leader skill, 30% speed. Dragon attack throws an uppercut punch to an enemy 2 times, and each attack has a 50% chance to stun, which we don't really need that for this, but unfortunately it's a skill that gets used, so we're going to talk about that when we start here. And then Ninja Stars, this is really what it is. 100% activation rate, throws a Ninja Star, continuous damage for 1 turn, more damage per speed, stuff like that. So let's jump into GB10 and let's see. I mean, I've tested this a couple times, so I know the answer, but we're using basically a farmable team. We're using Garo, we're using Bernard, Bella, Shannon, and then Roke. So one of the things you're going to ask is, why Roke? Because Giants B10 is water. So the reason we're using Roke is because the things that will trip you up in this run are the crystals, because their speed is so synced that if you can't stun one or slow one, you can actually get cut by one of them if they crit you. The first one crits you and pops because Garo's so squishy. I mean, not in the first round, but later when his health isn't as high. If it pops you, the second one can go before you can cut in with your attack bar increase from your passive and knock you out. So you use fire because the crystals are actually a neutral element. So you're using those to... the fire monster, so Rogue, will automatically target the crystals because the golems are water, so he's not going to attack something he's weak against. Unless there's a defense break on it, then you might get unlucky, but... so we're using Rogue and Garo to kill the crystals first. That way we avoid the problem. So during the stages leading up to the boss, that's the only thing that's going to kill you are the crystals. The golems won't kill you. They don't do enough damage. They're not fast enough. You're way faster than they are. But then we're going to look. So using this team, the actual only way to die, once you get to the boss, there's only one way the boss can kill your Garo, and that is the revenge proc. So the problem is the way you can die, because if you have to get hit twice before you get a turn. So what happens is you would attack the giant, his 7th hit revenge would proc and hit you, which would activate your passive and not kill you. However, it would be right before his turn, so he would immediately get to go with his turn, and your passive's not back up yet, and you haven't cut in, and boom, he hits you, and you wipe. That's the only way to die. But unfortunately, that seems to happen quite often. I've tested this several times. I was testing this when he was a 4-star. I tested it when I made him a 5-star. I've tested it at slightly lower speeds. I was around 200 to start. Now I'm what, 215 roughly. I don't know if I need to slow down maybe. I'm sure there's a speed sweet spot that prevents you from doing these things, but I'm going to recommend, if you're a newer player, you can solve. I only have 3 6-stars. One is Roke, one is Garo, and then one is Ran, the Dark Rakshasa. That if you invest in Garo early, trying to kind of cheese your way into GB10, that you manual the boss. That is the safest way to do it, but even then, there's things you still can't prevent, that the timing of the revenge plus his turn attacking hitting you. You just can't. You can't prevent it at certain times. It's just a coincidence. It either is going to happen or it's not going to happen. The reason I suggest that you manual the boss is so that you don't use his second skill, Dragon Attack, because it does no dots. He does almost no damage, and it hits twice. So you're racking up the counter faster than you need to, and you really need to be focused on getting less hits and trying to focus on the dots. Now the dots have 100% activation rate, which is good, So we're going to show here. I'm not going to talk for a second here while I do this. Just so I could do it faster, and then you'll get a rough idea of the time. And then we'll talk about it during the next run when the next run's going on. But you can see the problems that I'm having. The dots are 100%. I have pretty good accuracy. I have over 50% accuracy. So it's decent. However, you can see I glance. They don't land on glance. And as a fire on water, you're going to glance a lot. And if they're not landing, I'm doing almost no damage. I can't. My Shannon isn't landing, you know. There you go. There's exactly what I told you was going to happen. So we'll put this because we're going to die. And this is why I don't recommend it. Because that same thing. We'll do another run. And it doesn't happen every time, but this is now... That was like my 10th or 11th run, and that's like the 5th or 6th time that's happened. It's pretty much about 50-50, and that's not very good for if you're going to be farming early game. So my recommendation is no, you wouldn't want to do this. It's just too risky. I don't know if there's a speed sweet spot where you might be able to avoid this, and you just have to get in there, because obviously as an early game player, you're not going to be able to run like 260 speed. You're just not going to happen. I mean, 215 is that's pretty good speed, plus my speed leader, 30%. I mean, that's another 33 speed, or, well, yeah, 32, 33 speed, somewhere around there. So that would put me around 250, but that's, I mean, if you're talking 250 before his speed leader, that's just crazy. And to put you at like 280, as an early game player, you're not going to have runes for that. So unfortunately, I mostly regret that I did this, although he has helped my I can now farm B8. He cruises through that boss because it's wind, so he doesn't have a problem there. So it has helped me get from B7 to B8, but it's not helping me with B10, so now I'm kind of behind where I should have been, because I was going to 6-star my Bella next, but I haven't got that far, or I'm just the water martial cat away from fusing Sigmaris, the water phoenix, and then I could have 6-starred him, her, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, it. And if I 6-starred that would really help because the leader skill and everything. So it's put me a little bit behind, as you can see with all this stuff going. And my Bella doesn't have her max mobilized, so she doesn't get to heal us quite as often as I need her to, but, oh, see, even took me out the boss. Before I got to the boss, you can see the problem here. With this team, so we're going to just end the battle because there's no way I'm beating it without Garo. So it's really the timing, the glancing hits, it's just not a good idea. And you say, well, maybe he can do B9 for you. That'd be good because B9's fire. Unfortunately, B9 is probably even more difficult because B9 has dots, lots of dots. We're going to use B8 because we can do B8. And those dots will actually kill you because if there's 2 dots on you and your passive procs, you're dead. If you start your turn basically at 1 health, the first dot will activate your passive and you'll live, and the second dot will immediately kill you. So it's not good. I thought maybe. So B8 is all he's really good for as beginner. I'm saying you can get faster. I've completed B10 with him, and I think my fastest run was like 4:17, which isn't fast, but I mean as a beginner, you'll take it. But most of the runs were between like 4:40 and 5 minutes, which as a beginner isn't terrible, but it's, like I said, it's not consistent. So that's my early game analysis. You can see if you really need to break into B8, you could get them here, but I mean, I'm sure there's other fire monsters you could make that will also help you break into B8. I'm using here. I could probably use Ran in here too, but I'm not gonna. Just use. And this isn't super fast. It's like 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes 45 seconds. I think is the rough estimate of time, depending on how crazy Rogue goes. But yeah, so this, I know people have talked about, speed running Giants B10 with Garo solo in 3 minutes. Yeah, you can see they're running like Vampire Nemesis or Triple Nemesis or whatever, so they can always cut, and they don't have that problem with getting hit back to back, and their runes are so good. As a beginner, you're not going to have that, so I don't suggest it. I did this for the channel because I wanted to test it out for you guys in case you're a newer player and see, is this a way I can kind of break into it and kind of get into it earlier as GB10 farming and get those runes, and then I'd work on building a, a faster team later. But it's going to be hard. I don't even know when I'm going to get a steady team down, or let alone a fast team, because you need AOE kind of to go fast, and I don't have any AOE. I have like one wind damage dealer, which is Ardella, and she's only at 5-star, because I don't think she's going to help me at 6-star for initial farming. But, I mean, you can see Garo works just fine here. I wasn't clearing him before. Hero could do that, but, he doesn't really have problems landing dots on B8. But 6-starring him, you could probably do this with him at 5-star for B8. So 6-starring him as an early game player, I would hold off on it. I don't really think it's worth it. Best run there, 219, hey. But I just wanted to give the early game players another look and say, hey, is this something we should be looking into? To kind of break, like I said, to break into that mold, or is it just something that's kind of, no, we'll skip it for now and see later. I would definitely pass if you're a newer game player, and say it's just not worth it at this point. You're better off going straight for your team, your core team of where are even my monsters? Shannon. We'll do it this way so you can see him. Shannon, Bernard, Delfoy if you can get her, Bella, and then a damage dealer. You can go ring if you want, although most people probably prefer like a Lucian, or if you can get him. I think Ardell is just too squishy. Even running HP on her, it's just not. It's just hard. I don't think it's going to work with her as the initial starter, but you could also use Konamiya, Veramos if you want to fuse it, Sigmaris. That was the fusion I was going for, because I don't want Veramos. Like I said, on this account, I'm just playing with monsters that I enjoy, and I don't enjoy the Ifrits at all. But that's how I was going to do it. So yes, my final take on Garo, not really for early game players. I'm sure if I got his stats up more, this might work better, where I could avoid the first hit killing me like that, and then on his turn, that would be the one that procs it, or I could get my speed high enough that I could cut in between. But I as a newer game player, I don't think the runes are going to be there unless I can farm them out of B8. But yeah, that's it for this one. I just want to give everyone that review. I hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up or subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff. And thanks for watching, everybody. This is Mushbeard. I am out.